G'day everyone and welcome to Valley Farm for a massive Saturday of racing. It's sharp EIT AllStar Mile Day and we've seen a terrific field assemble for the $5 million feature. We've got great weather, the rail's back in the true position and it's a big win for the punters. The summer relaxed dress code has been approved. Rainman, it's been a big build up, but finally we're here.
Yeah, we are finally here, Benny. I think this is going to be one of the highlights of the autumn racing carnival. We know last time the Valley hosted the All-Star Mile, we got that epic showdown between Mugatoo and Russian Camelot. It was one of the highlights of the racing year. I think we could see something similar on Saturday. I cannot wait for this All-Star Mile.
Always is a highlight. Well, we're not mucking around. We're getting straight into the feature race 7. It is the sharp EIT All-Star Mile, 1,600 metres, weight for age. Very keen to hear your thoughts here.
Benny, this is a tough race to me. I'm as big an Alligator Blood fan as there is. I think he's an absolute marvel. He's one of my favourite horses, but I just think the $2.80 here in the All-Star Mile does look a little bit skinny at the mile. And I think the horse that is ready to peak here, third up and is ready to win, is I'm Thunderstruck. Currently $6.50 with Ladbrokes. We've seen him be a little bit disappointing to the naked eye, and he's 2 runs back this preparation in the Yaw and the Futurity, but he's never been a 1,400 metre horse. He is a miler, I'm Thunderstruck. He gets out to the mile now. He's peaked third up before. We saw him do it last preparation. He beat Alligator Blood in the Maccabi Diva at Flemington over 1,600 metres. He was enormous in this race last year behind Zaki. I think he's been set for this race. Barrier 5 suits, he can set it a little bit closer to the speed. And we've seen in his previous run at the Valley, he was enormous in that Ladbrokes Cox Plate. So I'm Thunderstruck goes on top for me. I've got a huge amount of respect for Alligator Blood, though. He's going to be very tough to run down. I am going a little bit wide in the quaddie, though, because I think there's more winning chances in this race than the market may just suggest. So for the quaddie, number 1, I'm Thunderstruck. Number 2, Alligator Blood. Number 4, Mr. Brightside's flying as well. Number 6, Law of Indices, I think can run a really big race. And number 8, Alan Quer, the Ladbrokes runner, the international wild card. He can run a race at a big price.
Race 8 is the PKF Typhoon Tracy Stakes, Group 3 for the 3-year-old fillies. And I'm backing the 2 Paris horses here. Number 1, Paris Dior, she was really good first up at Flemington. She was stuck in the inferior lane there, and I thought she was excellent behind a potential star in Benedetta. Her splits home were only betted by Benedetta, and she should find a nice spot from Barrier 7 with Jamie Mott aboard. We lose nothing with him going aboard. He's actually striking at 20% for his last 50 rides. The other horse I want to back is the Godolphin filly. Her name is Parasol. She's only coming through a benchmark 78 midweeker, but the figure coming out of that race is enormous. It rated some 10 lengths above the old benchmark. She's had a nice tick over trial since. We love to see that from this stable. And she's drawn barrier 2 for Froggy Newitt, so she should get the suck run. In the quaddie, I think there's only 3 chances. Number 1, Paris Dior. Number 2, My Ballamay. She's a really talented WA filly, but draws out. And number 12, Parasol.
Race 9 is the Alistair Clark Stakes, one of the favourite races of the autumn at the Valley. And so a really competitive race this year. We're seeing a lot of horses backing up from the Australian Guineas. And a horse coming out of the Australian Guineas I think is going to be very tough to beat is Japanese Emperor. Was a really good third at a very big price behind Legato in the Australian Guineas. But I think he's a much better horse than that price, that starting price suggests. I really like the way he hit the line in the Australian Guineas. Drawn nicely here, barrier 4 with Blake Shin in the saddle. Like, he gives the impression that he's a horse that will relish to step up to the Cox Plate distance of 2,040 metres as well. So Japanese Emperor clearly on top for me. The Ladbrokes favourite, he's been well backed as well, is Amenable, comes out of the Australian Guineas as well. Didn't have a huge amount of luck in running in that race, so he's the obvious danger. I think there's 4 clear chances here, though, for the quaddie. Number 1, Dunkel, he just keeps winning. Number 2, Bank Mer comes out of the Australian Guineas as well. Number 3, Amenable, and number 5, Japanese Emperor.
Race 10 is the Ladbrokes Country Mile Series Final, and I'm backing another toppy here. His name is Quay Quay for Matt Kamani and Celine Gaudray. Last start, this horse led them up at Ballarat and absolutely bolted in with a $41 SP. I know he did have the big SP there, but I'm happy to look past it. I think the market just got it wrong because he has gone off the boiler for some time. The key to him is being able to get bowling out in front. And given he's drawn barrier 1 and British Columbia, who he beat easily last start, has drawn barrier 7, I think he can find the fence again and he will be stronger at 1,600 metres again. Going back a few years ago now, this horse did push a horse named Cherry Tortoni in a Group 2 Vase on Cox Plate Day, as you can see in this replay. And last start was a little sign of life that he may be able to recapture that form. In the quaddie, I'm going to go with number 1, Quay Quay, number 2, Superazi, number 3, British Columbia, number 7, Too Good for Turak, number 8, Daily Bugle, and number 13, Rio Yuki. We need to go wide in the last. Well, Rayman, that is the quaddie, but you've got 6 other races to find a best bet. Who is it?
Going nice and early in the day, Benny. Hopefully you get the cash in the first. The Valley, race 1, number 1, Midwest in the Vobus Gold is absolutely thrown in here. He's got the top weight, but he's clearly the best horse in this race. He's 2 from 2 at the Valley, loves the 1,000 metres. He's $2.05 at the moment. I think anything better than even money is an outstanding bet. So race 1, number 1, Midwest is clearly my best bet of the day.
That's been Sharp EIT All-Star Mile Day punters. We'll see you back here next week for the Group 1 William Reid Stakes.